Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Dave Petrosky. I'm the VP of SAP Public Cloud Sales at Navigator Business Solutions. We're an SAP Gold partner, and I'm thrilled to host our webinar today, Not Your Father's SAP, where we'll show you why modern SAP solutions are a perfect fit for businesses of all sizes, not just large enterprises. Here's what we have planned. I'll start with a brief introduction of our expert presenters. Then Aaron Reed, our SAP's National VP of SAP Cloud ERP, will share his insights. He'll be followed by Ralph Hess, Executive VP of Sales and Marketing at Navigator, who will challenge the common perceptions about SAP ERP. And then he'll introduce you to the exciting new world of SAP Business Suite. Next, we'll get a unique customer perspective from Rob Seifert, SAP's Senior Director of SAP S/4HANA Cloud Center of Excellence, who was once an SAP customer himself. And then we'll wrap up with a great demo of SAP Public Cloud led by our Senior Solution Advisor, Zach Good. Feel free to submit your questions via the chat, and we will answer them in our Q&A session at the end. So today's impressive lineup includes, like I said, SAP's Aaron Reed. He's the National VP of SAP Cloud ERP. We also have SAP's Rob Seifert. He's the Senior Director of SAP S/4HANA Cloud Center of Excellence. We have Navigator's own Ralph Hess, our Executive VP of Sales and Marketing, as well as Zach Good, who is our Senior Solution Advisor. So to get us started, please join me in welcoming Aaron Reed. Aaron, thank you.
Dave, thank you so much. And team, I would be remiss if I didn't start by thanking each of you out on the call today, and a special thank you to the Navigator team for sponsoring this and walking us through this today. They're one of our gold partners, as David said, and a true partner of SAP. So we couldn't be more excited to be doing this together. As Dave said, I'm the National Vice President for Cloud ERP in North America. Cloud ERP is another way of saying S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. It's just a little bit easier to say than that big mouthful, but I represent our public cloud team, the team of specialists that support the Navigator team, our other partner communities, and of course the SAP team internally for all things Cloud ERP. As you can imagine, I spend a lot of time in the field in front of our clients, and I see a lot of these myths that we're addressing here today. SAP is too expensive. SAP is only for enterprise. SAP is too complex for mid-market, takes years to implement, or requires large, complex implementation teams. I think a lot of that confusion comes from one thing. Yes, SAP is a very large, 50-year-plus old organization, but when we're talking Cloud ERP, we're not talking about a bifurcation of our old code set that we've modified to fit in a SaaS model. Cloud ERP is built from the ground up, net new code that SAP has developed over the course of the past 12 years, specifically designed for the mid-market space and to grow with our clients as they grow. Right? It is designed specifically with the embedded business processes from industries over our 50 years of experience working with industries of all kinds, so that our clients aren't having to customize or create or modify the binaries of the code. All of that is provided to them in a fit-to-standard model. Any requirements to configure things in a custom manner can be done at the BTP layer, so we're not modifying the core code. The advantage of that is the upgrades are much less painful for our clients, right? And the value of that there is, as we roll out innovations that our clients want to consume, they are immediately in a position to consume those innovations, right? In addition to that, because we understand that not all clients need all feature functionality day one, right? As an example, enterprise warehouse management in the old SAP way meant if you want that function, you get all or nothing. The reality of it is most of our clients use 30% of that feature function, but we're having to pay for all of it. That's not the case in Cloud ERP. We can grow with you, add modules as you need them, and address the business cases and business needs as you grow. Now, that also affords us to be very price competitive in the market, right? I compete with all of the players out there as usual. We are just in line with all of the usual pricing. It's something that we've taken very, very seriously to make sure that we understand where we need to meet our clients, how we approach phased approaches, and making sure that from an implementation perspective, we're not trying to eat the elephant in one shot, as it were, right? We want to grow with our organizations and make sure we provide them the technology they need when they need to consume it. And then as needed, we grow that and implement additional features and functions, again, because we're able to do that in a quick manner, because we have a fit to standard model. We're not modifying the core binaries, so we don't have to deal with all that fun regression testing and all that exciting stuff. We can roll out innovations as they become available. Now, on top of all of that, Cloud ERP does not take years to implement, right? Because of the nature of the technology, because of the nature that we build the solutions for our clients, we're able to implement in a much faster rate than we did traditionally with a large on-prem monster ERP environment. So to reiterate, I want to make very clear that we understand that when we're talking SAP Cloud ERP, that is net new code built from the ground up, embedded with our 50 years of industry experience across all those industries, and pre-populated with those business processes that each of you likely use today. So I did promise Ralph and team that I would keep it relatively short because we have a number of great things to get through today, and I want to make sure we hear from the amazing team we brought together for you. So that being said, Ralph, I think I'm going to hand it off to you from here.
Great, thanks very much, Aaron. I think that covers those points really, really well, and I think we'll kind of intertwine some confirmation of that, especially as we talk about the years to implement. The projects that we're doing are between 6 and 10 months in terms of duration. That's for full supply chain type companies. And in terms of a large implementation team, we're never having more than 3 or 4 people on an implementation team at any given time. So really, if you have any experience with some of the large enterprise or the old SAP, it's a dramatically different model for implementation. So let's talk about this new SAP, as Dave Petrowski and I like to call it. There's a lot of facts about SAP that people don't understand. They think about SAP in terms of running the largest companies in the world, and that's absolutely true. But did you know that 80% of SAP customers are well below $1 billion in revenue? Many of those below even $250 million in revenue. The SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition, or as we refer to it, the Cloud ERP, as Aaron has said, is really embodying the 50 years of ERP leadership. SAP HANA Cloud was developed with the most modern tools, as I'm kind of repeating a little bit of what Aaron said, but there's a really key point. It's easy to configure and maintain. Many people think about the large teams that it takes to support an SAP platform. That was the old days. In these days, we have 1 or 2 people at our customers' accounts who are in charge of just kind of being that super user, being the person who does the custom analytics and things like that. And in terms of adding more functionality, oftentimes it's changing the configuration of what you've already purchased to take advantage of kind of the agility and capabilities of the Cloud ERP. As when you'll see Zach do the demonstration today, you're going to see that it's a very user-friendly user interface. It's easy to use and consume. There's some great tools that SAP embeds right within the solution itself to help drive that adoption. It is a comprehensive end-to-end suite of applications on a single platform. I really want to emphasize the word platform because that's what we're really talking about here. Although we're talking about the Cloud ERP, which is one piece of the overall platform of Business Suite, it really is providing end-to-end coverage from a solution perspective. And as you need to get more advanced or deeper into some of those elements, there is an SAP solution for that, which SAP is supporting and delivering all on a single cloud platform. Another differentiator is that really the Cloud ERP is delivering AI out of the box. Again, Zach's going to show you a little bit about the Joule business co-pilot that SAP is delivering. Very innovative, very user-friendly, really helps drive adoption and gives you new insight into the data that you're building in your solution. It is a model of continuous innovation of functionality. So when Aaron referred to, hey, the upgrades and new releases are less painful, they're actually seamless. So the way that it works is innovation is delivered into your test environment. You're allowed to kind of test it, turn it on, test it, and then as you see fit, you can turn it on in your production environment. So really it's seamless. There's very little for the customer to do or even your support personnel to do. And really, as we like to say, it's the last ERP you will ever have to implement. That may seem like a bold and very kind of salesy presentation point, but it really is true. Given the continuous innovation, given the fact that AI is embedded in there and able to be built upon, you're really buying a platform that will continue to support your organization as it morphs into new business models, as it scales, really as your business matures. This is the single platform that can handle it all. Now, the diagram on the right-hand side may seem a little bit of an eye test, but essentially what it is just talking and giving the visual that the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition, which of course we refer to as Cloud ERP, is really at the center of all the applications. As you look at this, what's referred to as business technology platform, that is an enablement platform in which all of the SAP solutions are communicating. And so as you need to grow in functionality or complexity in certain areas, there are applications available, whether it be CRM or human capital management or advanced planning and forecasting or spend management or advanced financial management. There are solutions out there that SAP provides that are already pre-integrated running on the same platform. As you see, of course, in the outer band, you're starting to see the introduction of Joule agents and end-to-end business processes in an agentic type kind of a platform where you're able to have AI start to perform some of your kind of common functionality using agents. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of kind of the AI, but just philosophically and architecturally, I just wanted to very quickly go over this slide, which is that when you look at the business suite, as you're hearing SAP now refer to this overall arching platform that I referred to, they're referring to it as business suite. And so the SAP Cloud ERP is really that application layer that you're talking about. And in order to even do AI, you need to have good data, you need to have good consistent application behavior. And so that's what SAP is delivering fundamentally with its cloud applications. You also have a layer that's called the SAP Business Data Cloud. This is an area where you keep and refine your data. You can integrate external data into that. And then as you take a look at it, that's the data, the very rich data content upon which the AI is going to run. So not looking to make this seem any more complex than it is, but if you think about AI, you need to have good applications, you need to have good solid data, you're probably injecting some external data to get some refinement in what the language models are going to read, and then you're going to deliver not just kind of co-pilot or generative AI, but also the ability to, as SAP introduces agents across the cloud platform, be able to take advantage of those. So kind of a futuristic look. What we're going to see today is really what the foundation is, which is the cloud ERP. So Rob, I guess we're going to turn it over to you, and you've lived the journey, if you will, as a customer. So it'd be great to hear what your perspective is on kind of that journey through ERP from what SAP used to be to what it is today.
Definitely. Well, thanks for having me here today. I really appreciate it. And, you know, really prior to joining SAP, I worked in the high-tech industry for 26 years. I've worked with ERPs in different capacities during that time, not only as a user, but I ended up being a power user, a citizen developer. I led some of the staff that were users of ERP. And then I flipped over to the IT side of the house, and I was actually managing the relationship of the ERP and what changes needed to be made with it, and ultimately ended up being the co-project sponsor of our move from ECC to S/4HANA. And during this time, I've definitely seen the evolution of ERPs. I've seen the challenges faced as companies like my previous employer added more and more technical debt to the landscape as well. And some of those things, they started off small and simple, but as the years passed, you know, the changes grew. We got to the point where what used to be simple requests to the system took a lot longer. We didn't always necessarily know what the impact would be, and it took even longer for us to test and make sure changes we were making to the system didn't impact anything negatively. And then the more we did that, we were getting further and further away from leveraging standard functionality. We also had to spend more time supporting these legacy changes, and it took our technical team away from supporting strategic requests that were coming in. And because we weren't in the cloud, we didn't stay up to date on patches or upgrades. And this was to our hardware as well as to the ERP. It led to greater risks for us, but also added a lot more time to any efforts when we actually did patch our systems or upgrade our ERP and our systems. There was also the complexity of not only testing, but making changes to our customizations when we did upgrade our functionality. And, like most customers, we had integrations as well. And we were on old software, so we had legacy integrations. And it was limiting how we could tie into other cloud-based solutions as we continued to buy more and more software. So really, as a company, we decided to take a step back and evaluate what needed to be our next steps. We figured we needed an upgraded ERP that would provide us the latest capabilities to support our business needs, not only for today, but as we continue to grow. And we needed an ERP that could provide real-time visibility to our business. What's going well, what's not, how's inventory, how are we doing on accounts payable, how is our cash looking? We really needed a system that would stay up to date on a regular basis and offer us new functionality to support us as we did continue to grow. And then, as you had mentioned earlier, we needed one that had an improved user experience, one that was easy and intuitive, and one that could be accessed from any device. More and more, our users are on laptops, iPads, phones, and even some cases a watch. And we needed to be able to make sure that our ERP would work on those different platforms. We also needed to make sure that we had a solution that was easier to integrate and one that would be up to date on the latest standards. So we took all of that into account and said, okay, what are the critical areas that we need to consider when upgrading our ERP? Number one, it had to support our current business needs. But we also knew what our vision was for the next 3 to 5 years. So we wanted to make sure that it was also directionally going the way we were. Would it not only support us today, but will it support us tomorrow? And then we needed a solution that was more intuitive to our colleagues. We needed people to spend less time with their fingers on keyboard and more time letting the system do the work for them. Let them build better relationships. Let them find new ways to generate revenue for us. We wanted an ERP that supported continued streamlined processes and automation. And even though our upgrade was before AI really hit, we knew that we needed automation in place. And back then, more of it was like robotic process automation and maybe some of the beginning of machine learning. We also needed a solution that provided standardized, efficient processes, but ones that we knew were flexible enough if we needed to make strategic changes to them. And like I said earlier, real-time visibility. In legacy ERPs, we were running reports in the background. We were exporting reports. We were doing a lot of work out of the system. We needed something that could be available at our users' fingertips to get the information they needed to make the right decisions faster. So internally, we also realized that we needed to look at our past approaches for how we were managing our ERP. Why did we deviate so much from standard functionality in areas that weren't strategic? A lot of times, your finance and accounting processes, your procurement processes, our sales order entry processes. And we knew that this would require us to be more critical of the changes that were proposed moving forward, understanding what their impacts would be, whether they were really necessary, and to evaluate that long-term impact of those changes. And we really narrowed it down to if it wasn't going to make us a lot of money, save us a lot of money, or wasn't needed from a regulatory perspective, we should not be making the changes in the system. We also knew that such a major change would require a strong commitment to organizational change management. We wanted to make sure we got the right people engaged, those that are impacted by what was going to happen with our new ERP, gain their support, get their feedback, and ensure they were part of this whole process so that we were more successful when we go live. On top of that, we had to establish some KPIs. How would we measure our success? So we sat back and said, okay, what are the key areas that matter to us? And we came up with those KPIs and we measured them from before we went live. What was the process looking like? What were the outcomes during the go live and in the future? And then lastly, another important piece, we needed to find a trusted partner, one that would work with us as one team that understood our goals, understood the constraints of our budget, and knew what our time was. Like, when would we go live? We had to stick to our time because we had other big projects that we were working on as a company, and it was very important to us that this did not drag on too long. And I'm happy to say we found the right ERP for us. We made the changes needed to our approaches to managing the ERP. And luckily, we found a partner that had the expertise to help guide us through the process. We were able to go live successfully, and I was happy knowing that we were on the last ERP that our company would ever need. That's enough about my story.
That's great. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, it's, you took kind of you encompassed a lot, right? That whole concept of the change of mindset to be more fit to standard, kind of the key evaluation success factors of how your decisions were going to be made, you know, adopting the organizational change management, and as you said, partnering with the right partner to be able to achieve the outcomes you're looking for. So thanks for sharing your story with us.
Definitely. Thank you again for having me.
All right, so I know you all have been very excited to listen to us talk. I'm sure most of you are here to actually see the star of the show, not Zach, but rather the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and make Zach the presenter, and you can walk you through a little bit of an overview. Zach, over to you.
Thank you, Ralph. I really appreciate it. Let me share my screen here, and we can get off and running. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your time to watch this guided tour of S/4HANA Public Cloud. So when logging into the platform, this is my user's home dashboard screen. This is S/4HANA Public Cloud Edition. And the first thing I like to do in an executive management role is see how my business is performing with a morning cup of coffee. At a quick glance, I see the capability to recap. And what this recap feature allows me to do is see my different insights on performance and view how they're performing from the last time I logged into the platform. So you can see here I have off contract spend performance and the changes here, and I can guide myself through and just have a quick snapshot of simply how my business is operating. What's great about these insight tiles and cards that provide great information around your business processes is the fact that they're interactive. And what I mean by that is I have the ability as a user to select one of these insight cards, and it's going to take me into the information behind the scenes. And here you can see it puts it in a format that is real to me, and I also can change as a user or manipulate this data to make it even more real. So for example, if I do not want to see this information in a bar graph, I can change my chart view maybe to a line chart, a pie chart, a heat map, etc. And certainly there are users out there that just like to see that tabular or Excel view. We can switch that viewpoint here, as well as export to Microsoft Excel out of the box. Certainly there are times where you need to filter or grasp more information. And with S/4HANA Public Cloud, your users can take the lasso feature and filter by different elements. Maybe I want to view this data by supplier, and the system is going to rearrange that information, and now I have that supplier view. Certainly, maybe I want to investigate even more information around this data. With the jump to functionality, I now can go into, for example, my purchase orders, and here see a list of all my purchase orders by supplier, and then drill into more specific information. What I'm trying to show here is the concept of how you can access information with the correct authorizations with the spirit of few clicks. Going back into my home dashboard screen, a couple other features that I have set up as I scroll down is when I log in, I like to see my to-dos, whether that's a task, you can see here in this example, an approval of a purchase order, or different situations that provide me notifications that need to have my eyes on at a certain point of the day or certain point of a transaction. I have those here visible. Certainly S/4HANA Public Cloud has its release upgrades twice a year, and so any new news that is coming in would be shown here in my news section, and I can then drill into that information, see documentation and video tutorials around that new specific updates and upgrades. When SAP was constructing its user interface, it really took the best in breed from Apple and Google. With Apple, it provided its application. You heard Ralph mention that it's a federated suite of applications. And what that means is it works like your iPhone or Android device where you have your platform and then you can add the applications for different functionality in the system to your home dashboard screen. In the upper right-hand corner, I have a full list of my applications, or what we like to call our app store, where I can, as a user, click, drag and drop, and add it to my home dashboard screen. Certainly, you can group your applications to your user preference or cadence. And so with those options, you can have spaces above, up top. In the middle of my screen, I have my pages, which is just a section of grouping of applications, as well as individual applications down here below. There's a lot of concept and conversation around SAP around what's called machine learning or artificial intelligence. S/4HANA Public Cloud is a true platform that runs on that machine learning through the Business Suite and artificial intelligence with that data. And you'll see throughout my demonstration some of those examples. For example, within my applications, I have the system telling me and recognizing what most used applications I use, recently used, as well as you're performing processes, the system will provide recommendation applications that might help you enhance or provide different functionality to better optimize your business. SAP out of the box also provides its business co-pilot, as Ralph mentioned, which is called Joule. And my Joule icon is in the upper right-hand screen here. What this does is it provides users faster insights with more data information using the generative AI prompting capabilities. So let's say I'm in the service organization, and a lot of times my clients are asking me about specific service contracts, update information, etc. What I can do is I can provide a prompt for, maybe I want to say, display a list of all service contracts. And what the system does, or I should say Joule, takes that information, reads, oh, excuse me, let me reload this. What the system does is it takes that information, reads the prompt, and then executes on that. So let me try again here of my prompt here. So what the system does, again, is taking that generative AI prompt, it's recognizing the information, going on the back end of the system and viewing all my data. It lets me know that it's working. And here it provides a list of all my service contracts, where here as a user, I can dive into that information in an efficient, timely manner. So it's just one example of the Joule capability. Certainly, it's vast throughout the whole entire platform and is a great feature within the S/4HANA Public Cloud platform. So now I want to switch gears and talk about how SAP constructed and took the best of breed within the Google using the enterprise search. And let's say I'm in production operations and I want to view a specific batch or lot number and see all the transactions that are posted around that batch or lot number. In the upper part of my screen, as a user, I can search for a specific batch number and execute it. What this does is, again, works like Google, and it goes and searches for all the information around the batch and provides applications that I can directionally dive into, such as I can see the batch information, I can manage quality certificates for this batch, etc. But I just want to view the specific individual information about this batch. Using the blue hyperlink, I can dive into this batch, and this takes me into more information. And here within the batch information, I see different capabilities, such as my general information, any classifications, where this batch is stored. If there was quality assurance or inspection points, the information would be provided here, as well as overall the transaction history. This gives me viewpoint that there were deliveries that took place, as well as the purchase order that started the process on how we brought this batch into inventory. And from here, using the chevron arrow, my production operations user can view that purchase order at a side-by-side view and investigate any information he needs to dive into. So that's a little bit of user interface, navigation, look and feel. And now I would like to take a pause and talk about another key value driver within the S/4HANA Public Cloud Edition, and that is its ability to provide automation within the platform. SAP enables you to apply document automation across a number of different documents, including accounts payable invoices, as well as even sales orders. While yesterday's technologies utilize OCR, SAP has delivered intelligent document extraction combined with robotic process automation to take that document automation to the next level. An example here that I have is the ability to take a customer's purchase order, read the information, and create a sales order from it. So within my email, you can see I have a customer's purchase order that has come through. This is just demo environment example. What the system will do is take a view of all the information, extract this using the machine learning capabilities, and then automate it into S/4HANA Public Cloud as a sales order. But let's take a look at the back end. If I dive into my back end, here you can see the robotic process automation or bot that extracts the PDF or image resulting in the document that shows the overall mapping and AI confidence in this extraction. You can see the confidence of the extraction on the right-hand side and the mapping that will continue to get better as more purchase orders or different documents come through and the system learns the overall information. So now let's dive back into S/4HANA Public Cloud and view this purchase order that has come through as a sales order. Back in my solution, within my pages section, I'm going to navigate to my sales overview, where here I can dive into all my sales orders using my application. And when I execute on my filter, it's going to pull up a list of all my sales orders. Here is that purchase order that came through the document extraction automation. And by the chevron icon, I now can view the information. Here, you can see the resulting sales order accurately entered with the purchase order document information that was attached, such as the general information from customer information, as well as terms and conditions, pricing information, administrative information, along with the items and their quantities. What's another great feature is the concept of the process flow. So the system is not only pulling in this extraction, but it's linking all the documentation for auditing purposes as well as efficiency purposes. So when I select my process flow as it's loading, you can see here the full story that's taken place from the order that has come through, my outbound delivery information, and you can see that there are planned delivery and planned invoices. So what S/4HANA Public Cloud with its predictive capabilities as well gives you a full snapshot of your current state of your business, but it also allows you to work around the corner and see the future state, allowing your accounting and financial team to see the impact on their books that will take place, as well as your delivery team to handle planned delivery demand that is coming through. So that's a little bit about some of the automation features within the platform. I now want to show another feature that customer service might like to use. Going back into my sales view here, we have the concept and application of track sales orders. This is a great order management application that gives you full insight of all your orders and their statuses. You can see here it's telling me my fulfillment, my delivery processing, what the overall order information is, as well as where it is taking place. If I need to see more further detail, again, I can utilize the chevron information. It's going to give me that tangible view in that process flow. Anywhere within your process flow is the ability to have interactive capabilities. So if I needed to go back into that standard order, I can drill into my order as well as other reporting capabilities as well. Going back into my track sales order, another great feature that our clients like to use within customer management is the ability to add filtering capabilities. So there's a lot of information here. Maybe I want to see information that just my orders that need to be picked or need to be shipped or need to be invoiced. You can set that at a user basis to, again, provide easy viewpoint and get access to the data that you need to see. And finally, on any screen, the ability to configure to your liking is at your fingertips with no coding capabilities. Using my gear icon, as a user, I now can add different fields, move this data around. For example, maybe I want to take my process phase and move it to the front of this screen and click OK, and it'll change the screen for me. So again, SAP truly understands the end user and what needs to happen and how they need to operate, and making it the best user experience possible. So that's a little bit about order operations. I'm now going to go back into my home dashboard screen and touch on procurement operations. In my purchasing overview, maybe I'm a supply planner and I'd like to just see materials, what their current stock is, and future demand. Our monitor material coverage allows for this capability. We can access this viewpoint here, have a demo example of an item, and then I can manage this overall material. And here's the full view of my supply and demand. SAP is recognizing for this specific material all the different customer orders that are coming in, delivery information, maybe there's reserve stock that needs to take place, as well as providing recommendations on how to keep my supply optimal. Here's the viewpoint here, and as I scroll down, you can see some of the capabilities that the monitor material coverage is providing. And again, if I scroll down below, it's recognizing that purchase requisitions or recommendations need to take place. And so from a supply planner, this provides efficiency, allowing me to viewpoint and see how I can be most optimal and serve my customers as well. I can then start to process this procurement process by going back here and viewing that purchase requisition. When I go into process purchase requisition, you can view this information that the system automatically recommended and then take action on it. So if I were to check this purchase requisition, I can then expand out. I can have a source of supply already assigned. I can change my source of supply, where the system will allow me to pull that source of supply from information records, contracts, agreements, my supplier list, as well as it proposes source of supplies as well, that then I can use the SAP's recommendation too. Once ready, I can check this box and convert it to a purchase order and start my three-way match capabilities. Within my platform, we talked about automation. And so I have it set up that once a purchase order is created from a purchase requisition, the system sends a warehouse task for my team when it's time to receive product in the inventory, and they can execute on that task. So as I'm describing and talking to this, let's view this task. SAP has a fully embedded warehouse management system that is a task-based solution. And here, within our change inbound deliveries, we'll show a list of all my tasks of product that needs to come in through inventory. I have a task set up here, and this task will be set up through automation or through your warehouse supervisors, where then your warehouse floor people can execute that on a mobile handheld, a tablet, etc. S/4HANA Public Cloud is browser agnostic, which means that you can utilize this system on your iPhone, any Android device, a tablet, a computer. And so let's do a day in the life of a warehouse floor that receives this task and needs to execute on this. I'm going to pull up my iPad for today's demonstration example, and you can see I'm logged in with my same user interface, but I'm now a warehouse floor user. My warehouse user can scroll down to their purchasing page, dive into that inbound delivery, and view that warehouse task once they execute on the filter information. I then, as a warehouse floor user ready to execute this task, can click on the warehouse task and bring and scan this product into inventory. I can simply check the box, confirm, and now that product was receipted. So this gives you full visibility on how the demo is not only, the demo system is not only has the functionality that you need, but it's also interactive between your users and very collaborative. So it's a little bit about procurement operations. Certainly a big piece is to understand where your inventory is at all times. And so within as a warehouse supervisor, within my warehouse processing page here, I have different applications that allow me to receive insight onto my products. So if I go into my manage physical stock here, this is a great viewpoint that shows all the transactions of a product and where it's stored and its quantities. Executing on my filter, I can see that capability for this item, that I have different transactions where my product is going into my general area for storage. It also is capturing any handling units. Maybe that's a pallet code, a serial number, a batch number, and I can view even more information. Another inventory view that our clients love to see and utilize is that single stock for material. So if I were to scan a specific item here and click enter, what this does is it provides a complete visibility of your product across all locations and warehouses regarding the quantity, status, location of inventory, and location of the inventory. So I can see here all the different products. Maybe I have specific product that goes through quality inspection. That status would show here. The system tracks stock in transit as well as returns. And then as a warehouse supervisor, I can make execution. I can click on stock and set up a stock transfer in-plant, cross-plant task that then would go to my warehouse team to execute, for example. Finally, with any specific process or functionality within the system, SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud provides an overview analysis within that section of the business. So for this inventory example, I can view my inventory analysis, run my filter, and it will provide out of the box different KPIs and dashboards that I always know how my warehouse is operating and have full visibility of my business performance. So that's a very high level overview, but wanted to give you some of the taste and features of the S/4HANA Public Cloud solution. And I thank you again for watching today. Back to you, Ralph.
Fantastic, Zach. Thanks so much. I think that you were able to really demonstrate some of the values of what SAP can provide, and I think it's going to be super helpful for people to understand that going into the future. So that was the little bit of a demo that we had. I guess we're now, Dave, I'm going to turn it back to you as our master of ceremonies.
Thank you, Ralph. And yeah, thank you, Zach. Excellent job. I think everyone's able to see that public cloud is not your father's ERP. Now we'll go to questions. So Sean, do we have any questions for the presenters?
We've gotten a couple of Dave, and I'm just going to throw them out there, and whoever feels most comfortable answering, please speak up. One of the questions was, how does S4 integrate with other systems like WMS, like third-party logistics companies?
Yeah, I'll handle that one because oftentimes that's a big aspect or a big piece of the solution. As we're going to market with S4 public cloud, there's oftentimes a requirement for integrations to other either line of business solutions, or Sean has just said an existing warehouse management solution, 3PLs, Amazon, Shopify. And those are all accomplished through what I referred to earlier as the business technology platform, which is SAP's, one element out of it is called the Integration Suite. It's an integration platform as a service, and it is a very high function, easy to use, and easy to maintain integration platform that really is extremely cost effective when compared against the others that are out there like Dell Boomi or MuleSoft, et cetera. So also what we like to do is see what can be possibly brought in or consumed by the S4 platform. So you talk about a WMS, there is an embedded warehouse management solution which is very richly functional that can be deployed as part of the solution, which oftentimes can be replacing both the functionality and the cost associated with an external warehouse management solution. But in short, the answer to integration is business technology platform.
Fantastic. The next one's a bit of a big one, so let's see if we can just sort of boil it down. And it's basically the question boils down to what is the difference between S4 public and S4 private?
Aaron, did you want to address that, or would you like me to take it? You know what? Why don't I take that one, since I'm being the answer box here for a little bit. So the big difference is that as you look at S4 public, there's differences in the platform. First off, S4 public is delivered as a public cloud solution, meaning it's a multiple tenant solution where SAP is taking full responsibility for what you refer to as the DevOps, or the full operations and data center operations, disaster recovery, backup planning, the continuous innovation and releases, application of releases. So that's the public cloud environment. As you look at the private cloud, it's usually those customers that want to continue to exert a vast amount of control over their environments. They want to control the servers, they want to control, or have very specific contracts for performance and things like that with either a data center operator or a hosting service. They oftentimes also don't want to have the need to take advantage of that continuous innovation. So it's more of the older style, a couple of releases a year, maybe one release a year that you're going to apply and test, and it becomes a much more manual process. So as you take a look at it, usually that's more in a regulated industry, companies that have very specific requirements for high degrees of customization of the solution. Those would be the people that would tend to rely on more of a private instance rather than the public instance.
Let's see, we got another one here that just came in. How many operating companies will S4 public support? Does it do multiple? How does that work?
Yes, so S4 from a financial and operational perspective supports an unlimited number of companies. So whether you're General Electric with far-flung operations, Microsoft with far-flung operations, it can handle an unlimited number of operating entities or legal entities, as we refer to them. There is the capability through some of the advanced functionality delivered by SAP of something that's called group reporting, which does a fantastic job with being able to support multi-company operations in terms of consolidations, eliminations, automation of financial closes and things like that. So really the platform itself is very well positioned to be able to handle an unlimited number of operating or holding companies, whatever the enterprise organization looks like.
Great. Those were the three top questions that came in from the attendees. So if there are no more questions out there, Dave, back to you to wrap it up.
All right, thank you, Sean. So if no more questions, I'd like to first thank all of the attendees for joining us today, and especially to our presenters, Aaron, Rob, Ralph and Zach, wonderful job. Thank you so much. So this concludes our webinar today. Thanks again for attending, and feel free to reach out to Navigator. My contact information is on the screen, or SAP should you have any additional questions. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful week.